ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this, and I will take that ride home.
I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
When you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. There's a reason that McConey Setup Shop is trusted by more virtual and real-world tracks and companies than any other setup shop in iRacing. With partners such as Stafford Motor Speedway, the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, Five Flag Speedway, Speed 51, and more. When you want something done right, you go to the experts at McConey Setup Shop.
With setups available for most series on both asphalt and dirt, built by a team of professional builders consisting of some of the top talents on the service, McConey Setup Shop LLC has what you need to hit the track with confidence. Head over to McConeySetupShop.com and learn why McConey Setup Shop is the official setup shop of Richmond Raceway Esports and is partnered with some of the largest names in virtual and real racing.
And remember, at McConey Setup Shop, there are setups, but your victories.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Richmond Raceway, round number 6 of the High Slide Cup Series. Going to be taking on the Richmond Raceway. My name is Chris Graham with the National Racing Network. It is a pleasure to have you joining us this evening. Joining the booth tonight, as always, by Mr. James Watson and Mr. Patrick Byrne. Boys, you both are just coming off 500 laps in the sprint car at Southern National in the Little 500. I can't believe you're coming back for more of this fun stuff.
Oh, I'm beat.
My brain is... but I'm going to do the best I can.
Oh, that's fantastic. See the cars running around Richmond Raceway here. You see the number 91 tonight of Greg Holt. Normally he's the number 3 in the league. Let's pick up one of the other guys. Actually, he's not even out on the racetrack right now. Joseph Causey. We'll tell you a little bit about his week 1 week ago, or his race 1 week ago at the Watkins Glen International Raceway. Absolutely dominant from beginning to end. Patrick, we called it clinical, surgical, taking him to school. Joseph Causey was just flat out incredible 1 week ago.
Oh, absolutely. I'm almost curious if he is a road course ringer just running the rest of these ovals just for fun.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. At least he drove like a ringer. And James, you couldn't go from 2 more dissimilar racetracks here. Watkins Glen is incredibly fast, not overly technical. It's hit your marks close enough. Here at Richmond Raceway tonight, this is all about consistency lap after lap.
I mean, it's not too dissimilar. That's the thing. I mean, you're going to need a lot of consistency on your braking points, being easy on the throttle, not overdriving it. I mean, you're not going to have to deal with any gravel or grass or anything if you screw up, but it definitely lends itself to being good in both disciplines to be good here. You know, there's a reason why you see a lot of the good road course guys in NASCAR also do well at the short tracks. It's not as night and day as you would think.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's definitely a unique challenge for the drivers. Let's tell you a little bit about the Richmond Raceway. Located in Henry County, Virginia, it's a 3/4 mile oval, turns banked at 14 degrees, opened in 1946, but saw a reconfiguration after the first race in 1988. In fact, I can remember as a kid watching Richard Petty dig that ceremonial first front-end loader full of concrete or pavement out of the Richmond Raceway surface. It came back for the second race of that 1988 season as the facility that we know today. D-shaped oval, 3/4 miles in length. Definitely going to be a big, big challenge for these drivers. Taking a look, as we mentioned, it is round number 6. 250 laps will be the distance tonight. Cautions are admin controlled. The restarts will be double file, and lap cars will head to the back. These are the NASCAR Cup Series cars. The current Gen 6 car. iRacing did release the Gen 7 car a week or so ago, but we're going to continue to run the Gen 6 cars here in the High Slide Cup Series. Chassis all built by the individual teams. Power plants provided by Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota, making upwards of 750 horsepower. These cars are still pretty beastly. 3,300 pounds and a 110-inch wheelbase. Completely different setup coming with the Gen 7 car, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as the season goes on. But the other big one to keep an eye on here tonight is the pit windows and how the pit strategy is going to play out. The pit window is really anywhere from about lap 35 to lap number 60. The teams have 5 sets of tires, but Patrick, the biggest one there is going to be the third item down. The tire wear is incredibly heavy on these cars here tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Talking to some of the drivers for the race, they were saying after 2 laps even, the car starts to get really, really loose. So it's going to be crazy to see them try and push it out to 50 laps, trying to get every last bit of tire they can get off those Goodyear rubbers.
Yep, the teams will have one backup car at their disposal. You're going to lose at least 1 lap if you have to pit under green flag conditions. If everybody cycles through the pit stops, that's not that big of a deal. If the caution flag comes out, you really could be hurting in a pretty big way. Looking ahead on the schedule here as we get ready for qualifications to start. Next week we are at Talladega Super Speedway. Oh boy, these cars around Talladega are a ton of fun to watch, and we can't wait to bring that one to you. Then we have a week off for the Memorial Day weekend, so you can enjoy the Coke 600 broadcast. We're going to follow that up with a trip to Kansas Speedway, and then the All-Star race coming up here for the High Slide Cup Series as well. So that's kind of looking almost a month out here in terms of the schedule. Want to remind everybody to like, share, ring the bell so you don't miss any of the content on YouTube. We'd love to have you give us a follow on Twitch as well. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram at National Racing Network, and we are also on the tweet box at the NRN TV. Little bit of a surprise here we're seeing in the comments. Jeremy Gibbs checking in saying he's going to miss this one. So one of the drivers who we typically see towards the front of the field will not be competing tonight. We'll pick up the 31 of Rob Pendleton as he works his way out on the racetrack. Greg Holt currently quickest in practice, and we can give you the best lap times for everybody here as we're down to the final couple of minutes of practice. Holt's at a 21.4 flat. Christian Converse going to be second quick at a 21.4.19. Brian Rumpf, Rob Pendleton. There's your winner 1 week ago, Joseph Causey. We talked about the guy a little bit. Might as well get the car up on the screen here. That number 88 Performance Sim Sport entry. And James, this is one of the storylines that we're seeing develop over the course of the season is the Performance Sim Sport cars versus the Lockhart Racing cars and the F5 Motorsports cars. The teams battle is going to be really big here, and some of the drivers like Joseph Causey really aren't with any of the established teams.
Yeah, that's the fun thing about series like this is when you get the big inter-team battles, you know, because depending on the level of talent in the series, driving championship can always go either way. They're not always the most exciting. So having a team championship this close is pretty fun. You love it when leagues do this.
And I need to correct myself a little bit here. Joseph Causey is one of those performance sim sport machines, and there's quite a few of them here in the High Slide Cup Series.
So one team having a bunch of cars? I don't know anything about that. Nope.
Yeah, I was going to say, almost a little bit like the Team Watson Racing Armada that we'll see in a variety of the series here on the National Racing Network. So practice is going to be wrapping up here shortly. Yeah, that's right. Checkered flag falling on the practice session right now. 26 cars have taken time, and it will be time to qualify here in just a moment. See who the first car is going to be to get out onto the racetrack. Looks like it'll be the 05 of Alan Martin. We'll pick him up. He works off of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. You'll see the names come across the bottom of your screen. The racetrack is split in half. Basically, from the start-finish line to just past the exit of turn number 1 is sector number 1. Sector number 2 is the other half of the racetrack. Cars that go purple, like you saw there with Alan Martin, they have set the fastest time in that sector. Green is a personal best. Orange means they are slower than their optimal time. First car to come around and complete a lap off of turn number 4 will be Alan Martin. 22.25 seconds is the mark to beat. Derek Grigsby is going to make it 21.82. Let's pick up Joseph Causey as Gavin Fitzgerald goes to the top of the charts. Art Greco goes to second. New quick time, Joseph Causey, 21.53 seconds. Rob Pendleton moves to second quick on the board at a 21.59. Qualification laps come here in a hurry. Let's pick up Rob Pendleton as he makes his way through turns 3 and 4, a little bit slower at the 1 and 2 end of the racetrack. Pendleton does not improve. Grab the 98 of Anthony Props as he makes his way around for his first lap. Greg Holt also on the racetrack, quick timer, I should say, in practice. Lap number 1 goes on the board for Anthony Props, going to be 21.69. New quick time, top of the board, Greg Holt, 21.53. We'll pick him up through turns 1 and 2. He is a little bit slower as he works lap 2. I mean, it really tells you here, guys, that these tires really are falling off in a big way after just one lap of really pushing them hard.
Yeah, it's going to be a really great race with having to watch everyone manage the rear tires. It's ironic because we're going to be dealing with almost the exact same thing we were dealing with for almost 3 hours earlier today, with rear happy cars wanting to kill you on a very small track lap after lap after lap.
Yeah, the sprint car race, the Little 500 was pretty unreal, quite frankly. We see Christian Converse taking a little bit of the drag the brakes, get everything warmed up method here. Depending on the level of qualifying scrutiny, which I would imagine in this instance is probably going to be none, Christian Converse is going to try to get everything up to temperature as quickly as possible here. You don't have much time to do it around Richmond Raceway. Running up the high side, especially, Patrick, we kind of talked about this off-air before the race, but the start-finish line is not in the middle of the dogleg like you might expect it to be.
No, it's towards the beginning of where you see that grass on the tri-oval in the infield. It's a lot closer to turn 4 than it is to the center or even turn 1.
Off of turn number 4, Christian Converse is going to go green in sector 1, purple sector 2, but it's not going to be enough. 21:56 is his time for lap number 1, and he's going to slow it down and come to a stop. That is going to be it. Joseph Causey goes second quick. In fact, matches the lap time of Greg Holt. 21:53. Wendell Elliott, 22.08 seconds. Pick up the 0-2 of Evan Kelsey as he works around the outside of the racetrack here. Taking a little bit different approach in that he's using... Oh, you got to make sure you don't get it up into the fence like he does there. This lap will not count. Trying to get the car warmed up as much as possible here. Kelsey hoping to make lap number 2 the quicker of his laps. A little bit high on entry into turn number 1. Follow him down the back straightaway. Off of turn number 4, gets the back end loose. We'll see if the lap time's going to stick. It does, but he's only going to be 16th quick. Grabbing the 21 now with Brian Grubbs, one of the Lockard Racing entries. A little nice throwback there to the Robert Yates Racing days on the hood of that machine.
Yeah, I was noticing. I really love what the Lockhart cars do, how all of them have a classic paint scheme, but yet they still have the rear bumper blue, so they have some little team uniformity. Again, I know nothing about that. That's a really interesting idea.
So Brian Grubb's going to complete his qualification run 22.24 seconds. Christian Converse at a 21:56, going to be third quick. He is back out on the racetrack, as is Wendell Elliott. Those guys are going to keep turning laps here. Kind of surprised. We've only seen 17 cars take time in qualifications. We'll pick up the 10 of Nicholas Lockard as he makes his way out onto the racetrack. Get you some of the comments here as well as we go. Andy Props checking in saying good luck 98, showing a little bit of love to Anthony. Alda Hernandez checking in. Let's go Petey Pop. Hashtag Petey Pop Maniac Fan. That is fantastic. Lockard also running that high line through turns 3 and 4. A little bit of an interesting choice there. 22:33 the lap time for Nicholas Lockard on lap number 1. Goes faster the first half of the racetrack. We'll see what he can do here through 3 and 4. This is Lockard jumps up to the 9th position, 21.82 seconds. 21:82 the time for Nicholas Lockard. Here's Peter Hodgson. Oh, man, that's going to absolutely kill the qualifying run. Gets it way loose off of turn number 4. Now he's going to have to come back around, basically reset the car to the pit area, you would think. Try to get the tires warmed back up. And Hodgson jumps out of the car, so we'll see what whether he comes back out to make a full qualification attempt. Jumps back into the car, does the big burnout, try to get the rear tires warmed up a little bit. Mark McCurdy, Cody Henderson, Jeff Converse, Garrett Velzy, Andrew Schroeder, Donnell Williams, Robert Thorns, Brian Shaw's, excuse me, all have not taken time yet. And we're getting down to about 90 seconds left in the qualification session here, so not a lot of time for these cars to get out on the racetrack. Hodgson once again absolutely bins it towards the entrance to turn number 1. That'll be the end of his run. Pick up the 23 of Mark McCurdy, one of the rookies in the series. Highest qualified rookie so far is Brian Rump for the 65. We'll see if he comes back out on the racetrack. Through turns 3 and 4, McCurdy on a pretty good lap here. Going to jump up to the 13th position, 22.07 seconds. Hey, Patrick, what do you make of it here with so many drivers not attempting to qualify yet? Is this just a matter of trying to wait out the sun going down and try to get a little bit cooler track temperature maybe?
Oh, absolutely. If this track, especially with how slidey it is, they're hoping that track gets a little bit colder, even just a degree or two, for that extra little bit of grip, maybe get them an extra 1/10 of a second, or maybe even less than that, just any advantage they can gain.
See Liam Jackson checking in, saying, love the series, keep it up. Well, thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Sunday night. I think we're down to the end of qualifications here, yeah. The 10-minute qualifying has elapsed. Only 19 cars taking time here in qualifications tonight. Show you the results from qualifying here real quickly, presented by Brother and Sister Trucking. Greg Holt will be your pole sitter, 21.531 seconds. Goose eggs across the board to Joseph Causey. Christian Converse, Rob Pendleton, Anthony Props, your top 5. Those top 18 cars are the only ones that took time here. Also, 19th place, Evan Kelsey. Everybody else is a no time all the way down the rest of the board, so this one's going to be interesting for sure. Let's pull up the grid here. Greg Holt and Joseph Causey will make up row number 1. Christian Converse and Rob Pendleton will line up in row number 2. Anthony Props, Gavin Fitzgerald in row 3. Art Greco, Brian Rumpf in row number 4. Row 5 will have Nicholas Lockard and Derek Grigsby. Timothy Pendergrass and Alan Martin in row number 6. Row 7, Mark McCurdy and Wendell Elliott. Joshua Gathright, Darrell Rector in row number 8. Row 9, Nathan Aldrich and Brian Grubbs. Row 10, Evan Kelsey and Jeff Converse. Cody Henderson and Brian Shaw, row number 11. Row 12 will have Garrett Velzy and Andrew Schroeder. Peter Hodgson and Danelle Williams in row 13, and all alone in row number 14 will be Robert Thorens. Let's see if we can't get a quick word here with Garrett Velzy. Garrett, noticed you didn't take time there in qualifying. Is there a strategy element to wanting to be at the back here?
Not really. I was just doing the pre-race speech, just kind of taking it easy to the later stages of the race and see what happens here.
Yeah, Garrett also one of the race control and admins here, so interesting insight there. Thank you very much. Good luck tonight, and we'll move Garrett back up to where he belongs. You see the field starting to roll off here, getting ready for 250 laps. Have to also thank Ray's Import and Alarm Technology Security Systems for their support of the High Slide Cup Series. I'll tell you what, gentlemen, this is going to be interesting with so many cars being at the back of the field. James, we're really in for a pretty big show here.
Oh, yeah, especially with a lot of top-notch drivers like Kelsey being back there. It's going to be fun watching them make that huge trek all the way up to the front. Might see a little bit of chaos here.
Yeah, I think we might see more than a little bit. And at the same time, Patrick, we're really talking about chalk starting up front. Greg Holt, Joseph Causey, Rob Pendleton, Christian Converse. Those 4 drivers have been 4 of the quickest we've seen week in and week out here in the High Slide Cup Series.
Oh, absolutely. Those 4 seem to be the best well-rounded to all the different types of tracks we run here in this series. And hopefully one of them goes home with the championship, or we might even see a wild card from further back, maybe get a little bit better throughout the season and come and steal it from them.
It'll be interesting for sure. And field making their way through turns 3 and 4. Green flag goes in the air. We're underway for 250 laps here at Richmond. Greg Holt grabs the early lead into turns 1 and 2. Side-by-side battle between Christian Converse and Rob Pendleton off the corner. Almost making contact down the back straightaway. This side-by-side fight will continue. So far, everything staying clean and green. A lot of cars moving. A little bit forward, a little bit backward here, but this is the best battle on the racetrack right now for third. Seeing the gap staying pretty close throughout the field here is Christian Converse just set the fastest lap of the race, closing in on the back bumper of Joseph Causey. Causey thought about having a look to the inside of race leader Greg Holt. Already 4 laps in the books here, and James, I would say a hair surprise based on what we saw out of practice that everybody from front to back has managed to keep things pretty clean here so far.
Yeah, you would hope that all the practice shenanigans was just everyone getting it out of their system and figuring out the absolute limit. So now that they know what not to do, they'll just kind of take it easy and ride for the most part till we get to actual race winning time.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it for sure. And making sure you're there at the end. This side-by-side battle between the 05 of Alan Martin and the 42 with Derek Grigsby. Grigsby able to hold on tough on the outside here. And Patrick, are we going to see that outside lane come in a pretty big way the more this race runs in?
Absolutely. I was just thinking about that. With the way these tires are going to wear, I'm curious if this ends up like a dirt track race where everyone's running the mid to low line, and as the race progresses, tires wear out, everyone starts to migrate right up against that wall.
It'll be interesting to see how that one plays out, because with having 5 sets of tires in the box, as we mentioned, you basically you don't want to have to take a set of tires early. And I would think the track position is going to be pretty critical throughout this event as well.
Oh, absolutely. Richmond is a very, very hard track to pass at. These guys sometimes make it look really, really easy, but there's only 1, maybe 2 really good grooves, and both are right about the same speed, so it's very hard to set someone up and get by them.
Top 4 or 5 cars, all single file here. Top 4 have broken away from 5th place. Brian Rumpf, he's up 3 spots from the start of tonight's race. Check out Wendell Elliott back here. He's up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag. Definitely seeing some of the comers and goers here. Timothy Pendergrass down 8 spots to 19th. Mark McCurdy down 11 spots to 24th. So we are definitely starting to see the movement throughout the field. Check out this battle off of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. The 81 of Brian Shaw. 710 Cody Henderson. We're side by side through 1 and 2, but now that 44 of Pendergrass starting to catch up in on Henderson as they work down the front straightaway. Try to spot you the closest battles on the racetrack. Tightest one we have is for the race lead. Greg Holt holding the lead and just about keeping that car down on the yellow line through turns 1 and 2. Joseph Causey working right in back behind him. And James, can that be a little bit of a strategy play to just sit in line and know you have a little bit of speed, but you're going to be able to save your tires?
100%, especially at a place like Richmond where it just eats tires. It's really gonna show who's the more cerebral drivers out here, because it's easy to just go, ooh, position, Me drive fast, me drive hard. Uh-oh, me no have tires left. So the guys that are going to finish up at the front are going to be the guys that use their brain the most and save as much as they can till towards the end of the run and then start making up position.
Here comes the move to the inside into turn number 3. Almost a little bit of contact. Causey makes the look inside. A little bit of a wiggle off the corner. Christian Converse right there as well. Converse is a guy who, if you could have any luck, it would be bad luck. Some of his control, most of it not. Nice to see Christian Converse having a pretty decent run here at the front of the field. Trouble on the racetrack. Caution flag number 1 will fly here on lap number 16. Take a look, see what happened to Alan Martin here on the Hot Shoe Raceway instant replay. Oh, just a little bit of help going around in turn number 1. Looked like the 14 got a big piece of that one as well. Get you another look at it here.
It just looked like, just shot up the racetrack right into the 05 and just nowhere to go.
Tough break there for the 14 of Nathan Aldrich as well. So coming back to look in here under green, 17 laps in the books. Nathan Aldrich and Alan Martin, the only 2 cars electing to come down pit road this time. Not really a surprise there in that you got to get as many laps as you can on these tires. You're looking somewhere in the range of 50 laps is kind of what we would think before you would see someone come in to make a pit stop. Seeing the 31 of Rob Pendleton. Went around the race leaders. Let's take a look here. Pendleton, keep your eye on that car a little bit further back in the pack. Yeah, now here's Pendleton coming to a stop on the front straightaway, so not sure if that was a penalty issued to Rob Pendleton or what here, but well, now he's working his way back forward through the field a little bit.
I'm curious if he was just having some kind of hardware issue, decided just to pass everyone, get clear of everyone in case something happened, reset his hardware, and then drop back in the line where he's supposed to be.
It very well could be it, because he's going to slot back into the 4th position here. So, again, no real surprise here that we didn't see any of the leaders come down pit road. Evan Kelsey, Alan Martin, Darrell Rector, Nathan Aldrich, the first 4 onto pit road. They're all running back 22nd through 25th position. Andrew Schroeder in the 47 on pit road. Andrew is I believe, handling race control duties tonight. There's a look at his car, but picking things back up at the front of the field. Yeah, I would imagine that was, I tend to agree with you there, Patrick, that some sort of a hardware issue. Working lap number 20 of 250 will come back to green on lap number 21. Now, James, this is the first true heat cycle on these tires where they've gone from hot to cool. Does that change your approach at all as how you're going to attack this restart?
I mean, personally, I try to drive a little harder when I have a heat cycle because I have more of an understanding on what the car is is going to do and what the car has been doing, but you know, it's kind of to each their own. Some people might.
Oh, Rob Pendleton spins down the front straightaway, hard into the inside wall. Caution flag is coming out. We've got a big one here on the front straightaway.
Well, I guess they didn't like the heat cycle of their tires this time.
Yeah. Rob Pendleton, now you wonder if what the issue may... Okay, we're seeing that he may have lost his Facebook feed, which is why he elected to come around. Tough break there for Rob Pendleton. And let's slide up to the front of the field here. See if anybody's going to be coming down pit road for repairs. Looks like Timothy Prendergrass, Garrett Velzy, Peter Hodgson, several cars making their way down pit road. They will go a lap down in the process here if there's any sort of extended repairs. Drivers do have the option of taking the backup car as Pendergrass overshoots his pit box. Here's an interesting call here. Christian Converse going to make his way down pit road here on lap number 23. First of the race leaders to go for an alternate strategy play.
I'm curious to see if he takes tires or if this is just a fuel-only stop.
Now let's take a look here. Follow Henderson down into his box. Don't see the jack going up on the car, so looks like this may be a fuel-only stop unless Converse picked up some damage in that incident. He's sitting there now over 24 seconds. He's going to make his way out 26.78 seconds. You wonder if Christian Converse didn't pick up a little damage in that incident. Car looks pretty good. I don't see anything all banged up on it. But that was a damage and fuel repair stop for Christian Converse. Now he's going to restart in the 22nd position.
Did see I looked a little closer at his car. He had a little bit of right front fender damage. He did restart right next to the 31 car, so it's possible they made a little bit of contact when he came around.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find a replay yet, but it looked like the 31 just kind of came down on very early initial watch.
Yeah, we can take a look here as we get ready to go back to green. Get you the hot shoe race for instant replay. Keep your eye on the 31 of Rob Pendleton. Oh, that was actually the 19 coming up the racetrack.
That's why I qualified it and said very early initial watch.
So as we go back to the live look
my butt
here,
on that.
Yeah, yeah. That I tell you what, that's a tough break for Rob Pendleton. Sounds like he may have potentially lost internet. He's, according to the comments here, not seeing his Facebook feed. So that's kind of interesting if Rob Pendleton's having some internet issues as well. But green flag goes back in the air. Greg Holt, Joseph Causey once again going to lead the field into turn number 1. Here comes the 65 of Brian Ruff looking to the outside. That's a power play there. Off at turn number 2. Ruff up 6 from the drop of the green, and he's only got 1 more to go to get into the lead. Just back behind him, Gavin Fitzgerald was taking a look at Joseph Causey. Not a real good restart there for the 88. Thinking about 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Cody Henderson way down to the inside. Contact with the outside wall. The 012 of Darrell Rector. Nice save by the 05 of Alan Martin. He's got to feel like a bit of a pinball tonight.
Yeah, that was very nearly another massive accident.
That 012 machine really not up to the handling snuff here at the moment. He pushed pretty hard up against the outside wall of the exit of turn 4 that time as well. Looking up just ahead of him, Cody Henderson trying to get to the inside of that 81 machine. Brian Shaw, Derek Grigsby going to do battle into turn number 3. Now working lap number 31. Getting closer to that pit window starting to come open here. Christian Converse still back in the 21st position, not making any big moves towards the front of the field, but depending on how this race starts to shape out a little bit, he could be in a pretty good spot here with the undercut.
Yeah, at this rate, with how little progress he's made, I think he's really just trying to putt around and save. I don't think he's trying to push at all.
Cody Henderson looking inside of Joshua Gathright in the 89. Gathright throws the big block down the front straightaway. Henderson's got to get on the binders. That allows Derek Grigsby to come around him to the outside.
What a bizzle. Good gracious.
Let's take a look here at the front of the field. Greg Holt's checked out by 1 1/4 seconds over Brian Rumpf. He's going to have Joseph Causey about 2 car lengths back as they come off at turn number 2. Just back behind them, Gavin Fitzgerald. Nice run early here for that number 33 machine. Going to have Wendell Elliott catching up to his back bumper as they come off at turn number 4. Cody Henderson and Alan Martin going to continue this fight. It's back in the pack a little bit. This is the battle for the 13th position, but this is where the racing has been best throughout the course of the night so far. Patrick, I would imagine this is where the drivers are really starting to feel like you want the caution, you just don't want it to be you.
Absolutely. Murphy's Law states if you're begging, pleading for a caution, you will be the caution. So nobody wants to say it, but all of these guys are wanting one to come around here soon so they can put a new set of tires on the car and fuel it up for the rest of the race.
Looking up towards the front, Greg Holt still has that 1.5 second lead over Brian Rumpf and Joseph Causey. Still about half a racetrack away from catching lap traffic, too. Go ahead, Patrick.
I was going to say, he is running away with that lead. I watch him just build it bigger and bigger. He's already up to 1.5 seconds now.
Let's slide.
Yeah, it's interesting, though.
I'm
just surprised they haven't caught lap traffic this quickly. We've had a decent run, and it's just interesting to see there not be as much of a speed and skill gap here as you would see in other series.
Yeah, this field is pretty level in terms of talent. Last time by, Greg Holt running a 22:35 for the lap time. 22:49 was Cody Henderson back in 13th. I mean, you've got to go way back in the field even to get into the 23-second bracket here. So when you're only talking about making up or losing tenths at a time, it could take a good long while here. In fact, we may see green flag pit stops before the leader catches lap traffic. It's
Greg Holt does not want. he does not want to see lap traffic either, because with how hard it is to pass here, those guys are going to be fighting to stay the first car one lap down or try not to go lap down at all, so he is going to get blocked by each and every one of them. But usually as soon as you go a lap down, you start letting the other cars by, so Joseph Causey there in second place, he'll be real happy to see him catch lap traffic, because that'll allow him to close the gap on Greg Holt.
Let's pick up this battle. Second, third, and fourth down the back straightaway. Causey, Rumpf, and Wendell Elliott. A couple of the series rookies, third and fourth. Rookies to the series, but not lacking in talent. And Patrick, this is one of the strategy games that may come into play here. If you're Greg Holt and you're starting to get close to where your mark is for the pit stop anyway, do you just come in and make the green flag pit stop if you're within the window here, just so you're not fighting lap traffic?
Oh, absolutely. I would say as soon as he catches up to those lap cars, he should come right into the pits unless caution comes out before that time period.
Considering where the numbers are, we're looking at about lap 60 as the limit for where you're going to be able to go on fuel. Looks like Greg Holt's only about 15 or so laps away. Oh, caution flag on the racetrack. Trouble for Cody Henderson. Kind of throws the strategy game out the window here. Let's take a look, see what happened to the 710. Oh, man, big time loose on corner entry. Got up into the 89. Loops it around, takes out the 42 machine as well. Derek Grigsby, an unfortunate bystander in that one.
Oh, wow.
Nathan Aldrich got the outside wall, too.
Yeah, that was not a great job by the 710 trying to pull back on the track. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I say it's the unsafe pit entry, but now the rest of the leaders coming in here on lap number 47. It'll be lap 48 by the time they hit their pit boxes to make their first scheduled service stops of the race. Rob Pendleton electing to stay out on the racetrack. He stopped at lap 23. Garrett Velzy, Art Greco also staying out on the racetrack. Of note, Christian Converse has come into the pits. So we'll have 3 cars on old tires. Everybody else going to take 4 Goodyear Racing Eagles, 2 cans Sunoco fuel. There's Greg Holt. He's down and away, 14.6 seconds, 14.67 for Joseph Causey in second. Wendell Elliott, Brian Rumpf, Gavin Fitzgerald, Anthony Props, the first 5 cars off of the pit lane. Show you the pit stop times here. It was 15 flat, 14.9. Garrett Velzy now making his way down pit road, as is Art Greco. So Rob Pendleton going to be the only guy here at the front of the field to stay out through the lap 23 caution cycle here. And looks like Pendleton, he's going to pull to the inside and come to a stop. So Pendleton may be having internet issues here. Everybody else going to cycle around. Greg Holt will resume the race lead. Joseph Causey up to second. Rob Pendleton able to get that car rolling once again, but he's going to be back in the 23rd position when they come around for the restart. So we talked about the stops needing to come at about lap 50 to space everything out. And, Patrick, it seems like things are going basically according to plan here for guys like Greg Holt and Joseph Causey.
Oh, absolutely. That caution could not have come at a better time. If we got in the green flag pit stops, one of those guys might have screwed up the entry and took themselves out of this race, and I don't want to see that. They've put on some great racing thus far.
And James, Greg Holt's been the dominant car of the night so far, and nothing about this says that's going to change at all, other than now if we start to see weather conditions and some of that stuff change, that really could be the difference maker here in terms of who's got the best car late in the race. Getting ready to come back to green flag racing here. It'll be lap 52 on the restart. Greg Holt, Joseph Causey on the front row. Brian Rumpf, Wendell Elliott in row number 2. Row 3, Gavin Fitzgerald, Anthony Props. Green flag back in the air. We're underway here at Richmond. Holt able to jump out to the lead. Elliott going to look inside of Rumpf as they head into turn 1. This is going to be a 3-car fight for the second position as they come off the corner. Looks like Joseph Causey just not totally up to speed as the 65 of Rumpf scrapes the outside safer barrier on the entrance to turn number 1. Greg Holt not getting away. Patrick, I would even say you could argue Greg Holt may be holding things up a little bit here. Oh, what a save by the 4.
Wow.
That was awesome.
That's about the only way to call that one.
Just speechless.
I tell you what, though, this is sort of what we were talking about, though. Greg Holt is not checking out here. Everybody else sort of felt like they were bottled up, and when you get bottled up, that's when you start to have some problems.
Oh, absolutely. Greg Holt being the leader, he controls the pace of the race right now, so he's going to dial him back to whatever he feels comfortable with and what he wants his tires to last to. Now, Joseph Causey, on the other hand, might want to get around him and have everyone try and follow his strategy and try and take the race win that way.
Taking a look, Rob Pendleton restarts and runs in the 19th position, so whatever the issue was there for Pendleton, he's now come to a stop twice over the course of the race here. Not the night that Rob Pendleton wanted to have for sure. Pick up the 48 of Garrett Velzy, the 89 of Joshua Gathright. This is the battle for the 16th position as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. Everybody's staying fairly close here. Oh, one car. That's Alan Martin spinning it down the front straightaway. Caution flag is out. Martin going to take the tow. Yeah, he towed back to the pit areas, so.
Yeah, depending on if he used his fast repair from the first incident he was involved in, this may be race over.
Let's take a look at a hot shoe race for instant replay. See what we see here on corner exit. Looked like he just lost it on his own. That was the 81 of Brian Shaw going around. Or coming past, I should say.
It's very, very easy to do here. Just coming out of 4, going through the banking transition. Back end wants to just get really, really light on you, get really loose, and if you're too quick on the gas, it'll just come around on you.
Yeah, these cars are,
see,
I would say not commensurate in power, but
what I don't get is he didn't make any contact with the wall. Why did he feel the need to tow?
Yeah, that's the one that's kind of interesting to me here is we see Joshua Gathright, Rob Pendleton, Jeff Converse, Derek Grigsby, Nathan Aldrich all making their way down pit road. In fact, the 05 of Alan Martin now out of the race. He is no longer in the pit area. Night is done for the 05.
Yeah, that is because like when you first saw it, you just assume that he just absolutely destroyed the wall, but the car was fine. I guess he just got tired of it. That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah, I would. Driving a car that is twitchy loose on corner exit just a handful of laps in is not a ton of fun. You're basically in a throttle control game all night long.
Yeah, when you're in that situation, just pedaling the car the whole way around track, sometime during it, you're just going to lose the game. So
working lap number 61 of 250. Joshua Gathright, Rob Pendleton, Nathan Aldrich stopping on lap number 59. It takes that lap 23 strategy and puts them on their second stop of the race. Going to get them really close to the halfway point, depending on how caution flags fly the rest of the race. Give you a little bit of a rundown here as we work under the caution flag. Greg Holt, Joseph Causey have been your top two cars all night long. They will restart side by side when we come back to green. Running in the third position, Brian Rumpf is up 5 spots from the drop of the green flag. A good run there for that number 65 Little Blue Pill throwback machine. 33, Gavin Fitzgerald is up 2. That car has been very good, very quietly all night. Wendell Elliott running in the 5th position. He's up 9 spots, the second running rookie behind Brian Rumpf, who runs 3rd. Anthony Probst into Louisville, number 98. Down 1 spot from the drop of the green flag, but again, quietly consistent throughout the night. After his earlier issue in pit stop, Christian Converse working his way back up to the 7th position. Number 2 on the hard charger list tonight, that 21 machine of Brian Grubbs. He's up 10 from the drop of the green flag. Going to be followed back to the green by Nicholas Lockard. And then our hard charger so far, Donnell Williams in the number 82. Tell you what, not many cars here towards the mid-pack are without signs of incident here over the course of this race. Our buddy Chad Irvine checking in here in the comments as we get ready to go back to green, asking if he can get a black flag clear. We'll work on that one for you, Chad. Holt and Causey going to battle side by side into turn number 1. Causey has to back out of it just a little bit. Same is not true for Gavin Fitzgerald and Brian Rumpf. They'll continue to fight side by side into 3.
Oh, big save by the 65.
Another fantastic save. Yeah. Big wiggle loose off the corner. Nice job keeping the car under control, but Brian Rumpf going to fall back to the 6th position. Oh, Wendell Elliott does the same thing. What a save. How did Anthony Props not run him over? 3 wide into turn 1.
Oh, there it goes. Oh, another save. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow. Absolutely.
We are getting a clinic.
Oh, yeah.
This is a clinic on car control.
That's absolutely incredible.
My jaw is just at the floor with the saves we just watched. We should have wadded up so many cars right now. How are they all still running?
It's a good question here, and they're going to try to wad up a few more here as they get into turn 3. These guys have wrecked several times. They just haven't finished the job yet. Here comes Rob Pendleton. He's thinking of making it 3 wide. There's the contact.
There it is. There he goes around. Oh, no way. How in the...
Oh, my goodness. The 72 of Art Greco, for all the saves we've seen tonight, he just won save of the night so far. He was bouncing back and forth between 2 race cars and kept it in a straight line. Holy cow.
We need to get something. We need the Pong sound effects, though. Boop, boop. Because that was the 72 right now. He was a ping pong ball, and he's still running basically where he was.
The racing is sure getting exciting here at Richmond Raceway, that's for sure, as we're 70 laps into this 250-lap high slide Cup Series race. Things at the front of the field have started to settle down just a little bit. Greg Holt with a third of a second over Joseph Causey. Gavin Fitzgerald holding on to the third position. Good battle here for fourth, though, as Christian Converse looks inside of Anthony Probst, and he'll make that pass cleanly off of turn number 2. Good recovery so far for the 19 of Christian Converse, and quite frankly, he hasn't had to use the quick repair yet either. At least I don't think he's used it. So he still has that ace in the back pocket here if he needs it late in the race as well.
Oh, absolutely. After all the bad luck he's had, I want to see him finish good this time.
Rob Pendleton has been up and down and up and down.
The 0-2 just a couple laps ago had a huge save of his own. Lost a bunch of positions, but he almost nosed it into the inside wall on the back straight.
Pretty incredible we're seeing this kind of driving here. And the cars who stopped at lap number 48 are actually not that far off from their pit window opening. Anywhere from lap 82 to lap 112 is where we're going to expect to see them. Caution going to fly on the speedway. Trouble for Jeff Converse and Nathan Aldrich. Get you the Hot Shoe Raceway instant replay. Little bit of contact down the front straightaway. Pretty hard into the inside wall for the 92 with Jeff Converse. Not real heavy contact for the 14 of Nathan Aldrich.
Yeah, 14's all right, but oh, good gracious. I hope Jeff has a faster pair left.
Yeah, let's pick up the gyro cam here on Jeff Converse. Get you the instant replay of this one.
Yeah, honestly, it just looked like an example of side drafting gone wrong, which is weird to see here, but...
Well, I don't think it's so weird to see that here, because this track used to have a saying a couple years ago, it's a short track that thinks it's a super speedway, and it is proving that to us right now.
Oh, you're not wrong there.
Take a look here, seeing we may have had a little bit more going on under caution here.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I don't blame the 14 for not being thrilled with that. I may or may not have done the same in his position.
Hey, bumpers are made for bumping, right?
Just taking a look here, Evan Kelsey going to be one of the only cars to come down pit road, at least amongst the lead pack anyway. Currently on his way in for what will be his 5th pit stop of the night. Darrell Rector, Nathan Aldrich, Jeff Converse, Timothy Prendergrass, all on pit road. Once again here, Patrick, kind of get your opinion on this, but you would think at about lap 77, are you close enough to the window, or do you just not want to chance it yet?
I would say it's close enough if they're thinking they're going to get a longer green flag run and push out the next fuel run to the 60-lap mark. However, if they're going to stay strict to that 50-lap mark, especially with all the cautions we've been getting, I think it's a little too early. I would just push it out as long as they can.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see as the race progresses here who deviates from that strategy, because if you're running a guy like Greg Holt who's led every lap of this race so far, you have to do something he's not. If you're anywhere from 5th place Anthony Probst on back, you're going to have to get him on strategy at some point. Maybe just too early in the race to start thinking that way.
It's never too early to start thinking about strategy. A lot of guys that I've talked to in the past, they'll start their first green flag pit stop as early as lap 5 just to set them up all the way to the end. And at a track that doesn't have a lot of cautions or even road courses, that strategy can work beautifully. So these guys should be thinking about it as early as now to try and get that jump on him when the checker flag comes out.
Yeah, we'll see as the run develops here. We're only about 20 laps from that next 50 lap mark, which is kind of where we would expect to see the next set of stops. The cars that stopped on lap number 59 are the first ones on a semi-alternate strategy. It's only about 12 laps further, but Rob Pendleton, Joshua Gathright, Derek Grigsby, Brian Shaw, all in that kind of lap 59 range for their pit stops. Fields doubled up. The iRacing safety car will pull off. Field gets to the brother-sister trucking restart. So green flag's back in the air. We're underway here once again at Richmond. Here's Causey looking to the inside of Greg Holt into one. Holt has to run a full lane and a half up the racetrack, but big drive off the corner. Greg Holt's going to hold on to the lead by 2 car lengths into 3.
That's disappointing. I thought for sure the 88 had him right there.
Yeah, that tells you how good Greg Holt's car is, quite frankly, when he can get basically forced into an off-nominal corner entry and just have the power to really blow him away off the exit of the corner.
That's a great thing about this track, too, is you can set your car up to be good on the high side, low side. You can set it up somewhere in the middle where you can run both. And the multi-groove racing at this track is just absolutely wonderful compared to some of the 1.5 miles we see where it's single groove the whole way around.
Rob Pendleton working his way back up through the field. Almost a little bit of contact there between Wendell Elliott and Anthony Props. Pendleton back up to the 6th position. Christian Converse runs 3rd, and he is right on the rear bumper of Joseph Causey as they head down the backstretch and into 3. One of the interesting things I'm noticing here, guys, is that we don't have any of the Performance Sim Sport drivers in the Discord server available for interviews tonight. For the most part, that's, I would imagine, by design, that they're going to want to kind of keep their team communications private, but kind of interesting that they're not available for the interview as well. So we can't even really ask these guys about what the strategy play is, and all 3 of these cars at the front of the field, all Performance Sim Sport entries.
Yeah, obviously whatever they have set up for this race tonight is working very well for them, and I don't blame them for trying to guard that secret.
Extra color commentator coming through in the comments here. Bill Mitchell says, Pendleton's come from the back twice, says he's got a car on a rail. One of the interesting things here is that Rob Pendleton is, basically he does his own in-car stream, and a lot of drivers will do these. So we don't have the ability to talk to him either here in the Discord. But yeah, that 31 machine is pretty good. He's been up and down throughout the field a couple of different times here. Keeping our eye on this battle for second as Christian Converse comes around Joseph Causey. Get you the Hot Shoe Racewear instant replay of this one. Just absolutely smoked him on corner entry. Causey trying to hold down to the bottom, but not enough oomph at the bottom of the racetrack. The Christian Converse back up to the 2nd position, and he's going to start to hunt down Greg Holt here at the front of the field. Sliding back just a little bit. There's Rob Pendleton, Gavin Fitzgerald looking to the outside. Wendell Elliott down to the inside. And James, that's one of the, it's not necessarily a trick, but it's kind of just how you have to drive the race car. If you're starting to get tight on corner entry, you almost have to arc the car in a little bit wide and just back the corner up a little bit.
That's kind of how I naturally drive Richmond anyways, because you're just taking so much life off the tire trying to take an early line in, so that later lines allow you to really maximize your speed off the corner and really helps keep the tires not dying as bad.
Yeah, Patrick, that's one of the things that in the real world you can drive a corner multiple different ways, but it seems like within the iRacing platform it really is about maximizing corner exit speed almost at all costs.
Absolutely. At just about any track, you want to get the biggest run you can off the corner and try to beat someone into the next straightaway. Into the next corner. Usually corner entry, if you go in too deep, you're just going to run up the racetrack, scrub a bunch of speed off when you have to hit the brakes, and you're going to be 10 miles an hour slower down those straightaways and just get blown by everyone else.
Here's Cody Henderson of the 710 looking inside of Brian Rumpf. Into turns 1 and 2, lap number 94 up on the scoreboard. Anthony Props right there in that fight as well. Slide back up towards the front here. Wendell Elliott and Rob Pendleton going to do battle. Here's Elliott looking to the inside into turn number 1. Gets that pass completed cleanly off at 2. Pendleton thought about looking back deep to the inside, but this is one of those sets of corners that it really goes to that, what you were talking about, Patrick, where you have to maximize the exit speed because that front straightaway is so long with such a big arc in it.
Oh, absolutely. This track, for being a short track, it is on the bigger side. It's 3/4 of a mile, where most short tracks in the country are half a mile or shorter. So you want to get every mile an hour you can before you have to scrub the brakes and get it slowed down for these turns.
Cody Henderson with a huge moment mid-corner. He got loose. Excuse me, Gavin Fitzgerald tight to the outside. Here's Evan Kelsey looking inside of the 98 of Anthony Probst. Oh, what a big save by Cody Henderson. Wow, that was massive. These drivers are in absolute handful mode at this point. Working lap number 97. Pretty rapidly approaching the halfway point here.
Wonder if they're going to start the green flag pit stop cycle here soon.
I would tend to think so. I mean, both, no matter which strategy you're on, you're looking at a pit window anywhere from lap 82 to lap 123. We're basically right in the middle of that right now. So the long green flag run has sort of negated that 10 to 12 lap difference in tires. Big push there out of the number 4, Wendell Elliott. That allows Rob Pendleton to catch right back up through turns 3 and 4. These drivers have an absolute handful right now. Evan Kelsey with a big move off at turn number 2.
Yeah, I love how the moment you finish saying that, we see the 4 and the 0-2 with big saves off the corner.
Yeah, James, this is sort of pucker factor Zulu. Hold on until you can't hold on anymore at this point.
God, your butt is going to be suction cupped to the seat. Like when you get up out of the rig after the race, you'll hear a little sound.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, we went there, folks. Cody Henderson, Brian Grubbs We're fixing to do battle, but Grubbs has to back off on corner entry into one. Can open the door for Derek Grigsby to make up a little bit of ground here anyway. There's the 92 of Jeff Converse looking to the inside. That red and white machine has used the backup car that is available to him, because we saw the whole front end of that car torn off just about 30 or so laps ago. Battle for the race lead starting to tighten up here. Greg Holt, Christian Converse making their way through turns 1 and 2. Again, I don't think you'll see them catch lap traffic before we get to the next cycle of pit stops. And James, this is a place that is not easy to get on and off a pit road. A lot of times in the open wheel cars, they'll even require you to pit entry from the backstretch and be slow on the apron. Not going to see that in the Cup cars here tonight. They're going to be flying as they make this pit entry.
Yeah, honestly, I would heavily consider to kind of wait and let other people come in and pit. It's a big risk because you're putting yourself at getting severely hosed by the undercut, but the likelihood of someone screwing up and bending it coming out of pit road or onto pit road, you'd be getting hosed anyway because you'd be a lap down. So it's kind of one of those, what's your gut telling you?
Yeah, starting to catch up to 23rd place, Timothy Pendergrass. So lap number 109 is on the scoreboard, and definitely getting close to the window here now for the cars that stopped at lap number 47, 48. That would include your top three. This is where having that little bit of extra in the bank, like Rob Pendleton does, Evan Kelsey stopped at lap 76. He's got a ton of room left to go. This really could be where you make that strategy play work out for you. Slide back in the field here just a little bit. Pick up Evan Kelsey fighting with Gavin Fitzgerald, Anthony Probst. Ryan Rumpf in that duel as well. These cars, while still fighting each other, are pretty rapidly catching Rob Pendleton and Wendell Elliott as well.
Oh, wow. It's so close, the 02 to the 33.
Yeah, that 33 machine definitely a little off the pace, but not having an issue of any sort. He's just fighting control of the race car. But it's going to allow the 98 of Anthony Probst to get to the inside. There's the big wiggle. Oh, what a save for Gavin Fitzgerald. These drivers are absolutely begging for a caution flag at this point. Art Greco going to be the first one to come down pit road here at lap number 114. Back in the 19th position. But that tells us the pit window is open.
Does that count as the commentator's curse, since we were just talking about how out of control he was and then he almost destroys it off a four?
No, because he saved it.
I was going to say, at the end of that little slide he had, he looked perfectly in control of it. So we're just going to call that intentional. It looked really cool.
That works for me.
Picking up this battle between Rob Pendleton and Wendell Elliott. About a quarter second apart here, and it's almost the same gap here to the race leaders as well. Staying out on the race course for at least another lap here. Through lap 116, but Christian Converse right there on the back bumper of Greg Holt down the back straightaway. Converse wants a piece of the race lead. Holt has led throughout. Converse ducks out of line down the front straightaway, shows them, kind of sells them the dummy a little bit into turn number 1. A little bit of a peek, let you know I'm there. Oh, man, huge wiggle for Holt off the corner. Converse got it up into the outside wall.
We got us a slugfest going on right now.
Oh, race leaders almost made contact into one again. Tires are absolutely cooked on these race cars.
These boys know there's another half of the race still left to complete.
Details.
I was going to say, we're not racing like it, that's for sure. Holt and Converse still side by side for the lead. Converse just not able to get the power down on corner exit. I mean, he's close to having the spot, but it's just not quite there yet.
Greg Holt has something else underneath that race car, because even running the low line, usually supposed to be the slower line, he still seems to be able to get a huge run coming out of the corners.
Yeah, but this time, Christian finally got him.
Yep, new race leader at the front of the field, Christian Converse. Is this the night where the luck changes? We'll knock on wood for him so the commentator's curse doesn't strike, but Converse now holding a 0.6 of a second lead over Greg Holt, will slide back in the pack. This fight continues, and this group of cars has been doing battle all night long. Joshua Gathright in the 89, Anthony Props in the 98, the 710 of Cody Henderson. It's almost like if you're the race leaders, you're waiting for everybody else to make their stops, just so you can, almost like you're trying to anticipate the caution that's going to come and just running it down until you're absolutely on that last lap of fuel.
Yeah, they have a decent lead back to third place. So as long as they can stay out there, still run competitive times, there's no reason for them to pit now. I would push those tires as long as they can go, run that fuel tank to empty, and hopefully get yourself an extra set of tires at the end of the race if we do go in the overtime.
Yeah, that's actually a very good call there, Patrick, that you do want to have that extra set of Goodyear Racing Eagles available if you need them down the stretch. I mean, it could be the difference between an 8th to 10th place run and a win, depending on when that last caution flies. Evan Kelsey might have caught a piece of the outside safer barrier on the exit of turn number 4. Ryan Rumpf trying to get caught back up to him, but not quite close enough. Here comes the first of the cars down pit road. It's the 98 of Anthony Props, the 42 of Derek Grigsby. Ryan Shaw also on the pit road. First stops for the race leaders. Greg Holt also on pit road, now out of second. We'll follow the stop for the 91. Wendell Elliott going to come in as well. Lap number 128 is the mark for the pit stop.
It almost seems like they were all playing the same call of just push it as long as it possibly can go. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another huge group of cars dive into the pits this time.
Ryan Rumpf making his way down pit road. Here comes Christian Converse, your race leader. Man, that pit entry is so tough. Really got to grab the binders in a big way. He's going to bring Joseph Causey with him. So lap 128, 129, 130 is where we're seeing second set of pit stops for your leaders. I'm quite frankly shocked here. These drivers stopped at lap 48 and are coming in on lap 128. That's an 80-lap run that we're seeing on fuel here. But like you said, Patrick, it really basically buys you an extra set of tires for the end of the race.
Absolutely. If they could push this stop and the next one to those full 80 laps, that's 40 laps now that you have over your normal 60-lap stops. And right there, you have your extra set of tires.
Davin Fitzgerald in.
Looks like the undercut worked out perfectly for Greg. He's back in front of Christian.
Yeah, he has about a half-second gap here as Christian Converse working around some of these cars. In fact, there's current race leader Rob Pendleton. But Greg Holt, Christian Converse, all these cars are one lap down. Only 4 cars currently on the lead lap. Rob Pendleton, Evan Kelsey, Brian Grubbs, Joshua Gathright. Pendleton stopped on lap 59. Here he comes. This time on to pit road. Evan Kelsey going to come with him as well. Brian Grubbs stays out on the racetrack in the number 21. The tires are just about junk, but if he catches the caution flag right here, we could have only 3 cars on the lead lap. Brian Grubbs, Garrett Velsey, Nicholas Lockhart. Several cars starting to unlap themselves as we say that. Garrett Velsey going to make his way down pit road. So it's only Brian Grubbs and Nicholas Lockhart on the lead lap right now. If the caution flag flies, this absolutely changes the complexion of this race in a big way. Grubbs and Lockhart will get the free pit stop, but they'll also come out 1-2 with everybody else having to take the wave around. Depending on how far we get into this run, it could be worth it to try to make this strategy play really go to the end here if you're Brian Grubbs.
Yeah, at this point, he doesn't have much to lose, so heck, might as well throw the Hail Mary and see what happens. But speaking to that, looks like the undercut advantage for Greg did not last long as Christian already got back by. That sure didn't take long this time around.
This is the effective battle for the race lead, with Grubbs and Lockhart still having to make their stops, and Lockhart now sliding high on the racetrack. One car, seeing a little bit of smoke here. That may have been Brian Rumpf. That was almost the caution flag that Brian Grubbs needed.
These drivers racing as hard as they are, I wouldn't be surprised if we do get that caution before Grubbs has to pit in.
Especially with the difference in tires as we've seen, because when we first went on Greg and Christian a little bit ago, all the traffic they were getting into, that was nearly another caution.
The lap times are a dead giveaway of who's stopped and who hasn't. Brian Grubbs last time by 23.29 seconds. Christian Converse 22.05. He's a full second a lap faster than Brian Grubbs. The lead is shrinking incredibly rapidly. This is going to be interesting to see how this strategy call plays out. The
He is
bigger,
going to need a caution.
yeah, he needs a caution pretty quick here. What's potentially even more interesting here, guys, is that you have only we're back up now to 13, 14 cars on the lead lap. Excuse me, 9 cars on the lead lap. This really could be the game changer where the cars that are trapped 2 laps down are really the big losers here.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if all those cars lap down half the pit when we get the next caution. Only one of them is going to get the lucky dog. All the rest of them are going to be trapped lap down. And by the time we get enough lucky dogs to let those cars 2 laps down back up, the race will already be long over.
Yeah, we're already past the halfway point here, working lap number 144. Actually, pretty quickly catching in on just 100 laps to go here at the Richmond Raceway. Here's your race leader, Brian Grubbs. He's trying to play the strategy call. Last stopping on lap number 75. We're almost getting to that point where things get very, very interesting, because if the caution flag were to fly, just about everybody on the lead lap, I would think, may be thinking about getting tires here. Can they go 80 laps? Yes, but they really don't want to have to. And the long green flag run is making it where you sort of don't have to think about it because you have that extra set of tires available.
According to my math, Brian Grubbs is going to need to pit by lap 155 before he runs out of fuel, which means he needs a caution to come out right this second or a lap or 2 from now, or his strategy is done and over with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see here in more ways than one, quite frankly. Is working at lap number 148, Brian Grubbs has the race lead. May have just clipped the outside safer barrier. But cue the Jaws theme, because here comes Christian Converse. Converse has opened a 1.5 second gap up on Greg Holt. You mentioned the lucky dog there, Patrick. It looks like the first car 1 lap down to get the lucky dog would be Brian Rumpf. There's only a handful of cars that are left 1 lap down. Then we're back to 16th place Darrell Rector, who's going to be 2 laps down. Here's the pass for the lead inside of 3 and 4. Christian Converse going to make it look easy. Christian Converse grabs the race lead back and starts to open up a pretty big gap on Brian Grubbs as they come off of turn number 2. We'll slide back and pick up Greg Holt.
Oh,
Grubbs,
and here he is.
Grubbs making his way down pit road. He's going to be the last car on the lead lap, or the last car to make a green flag pit stop. However, this is still kind of playing into the strategy game, however, because he's stopping on lap 152. He's got about 30 laps, or so 25 laps anyway, on the rest of the field. So depending on where that comes, could be a pretty big move here, but Grubbs is already going to go 1 lap down.
Yeah, he's easily going to be 2 laps down when he gets out.
Ask and ye shall receive. James Leonard in the comments asking any way to see the relatives. Updating in real time. There's the gaps, and only 9 cars remain on the lead lap through the cycle of green flag pit stops. Greg Holt losing about 1/10 of a second every pair of corners, plus time down the straightaway to Christian Converse. This number 19 machine is hooked up in a very, very big way.
Just seems like he found his rhythm and he's just grooving with it.
Yeah, this is a big time log laps. Get a lot of this race in. And I would imagine, James, this is really where now you, as the race leader, you have an opportunity to start saving some tires, and you really don't have to drive the car in that deeply into the corners.
Nope, he's got plenty of space to play with behind him. He can easily just kind of go about 80, maybe 75% and be good. He's in a great position right now.
You see the gap tighten up just a little bit when Converse enters the corner, and then on corner exit it stretches right back out again between Christian Converse and Greg Holt. Let's show you the battle, though. This is the fight for second between Greg Holt and Joseph Causey. Causey gets the wiggle under power.
I was going to say, Causey's car looks loose from the middle of the corner to the exit, and as you saw there on the front stretch too, but everyone's loose there. So it's interesting to see if he's burning off that right rear tire and if that's going to hurt him later on in this run.
I say there's only so much adjustability you have from the pit area. You can tighten it up a little bit, but we're not that deep into the run, and seeing Causey with that big of a wiggle. Oh, one car going around right behind him. We'll see if that brings out a yellow flag or not. Causey to the outside. That was trouble for Darrell Rector. We stay green, so we'll get you the Hot Shoe Raceway instant replay here. See what happened to Darrell Rector in the 0-1-2 machine. Just a little bit too much juice on corner exit. Gets it locked up, straightened out. Darrell Rector continues on, and we stay green. Oh, then he loops it again. So he gets into the pit area. Slide back a little bit further here as Anthony Props and Rob Pendleton will battle for the 5th position. Already working lap 162. I'll tell you what, guys, these are slightly more than half distance races here for the High Slide Cup Series. We're only an hour and 12 minutes into this race, and they're ticking laps by in a big-time hurry here. About 22, almost 23 seconds a lap, down from the best lap times of 21.5.
Oh, absolutely. It just goes to show the quality of drivers in this series, especially we haven't had as much cautions as you even see in the actual NASCAR Cup Series, which is why these laps seem to be ticking by so fast.
Trouble on the racetrack. Yep. Caution flag is out once again. Trouble for Darrell Rector. See what happened here. Almost sounds like, yeah, it's the same thing. Just way loose off the corner. Oh, that was right in front of Joseph Causey and Greg Holt.
Wow. That is, oh, goodness.
Oh, Nicholas Lockhart.
Oh, no.
Absolutely goes full arc of brakes. Trying to avoid. Let's
the 0-12 is.
That one right there might be the big smooth move of the race.
Who?
It might very well be. We'll go on board here with Nicholas Lockhart, see what he saw out the front windshield. You can see the smoke. He tries to get down to the inside. Absolutely nowhere to go. He was fully on the brakes, we'll say that, but carrying a ton of speed down the back straightaway.
The 0-12 is straight up not having a good time right now.
Yeah, now, everybody down pit road with the exception of Wendell Elliott. This is a little bit of a surprise here. Christian Converse going to win the race off of pit road, commit a Kona side on exit. Now Wendell Elliott going to come down pit road. I don't think they have the bonus point for leading a lap here, but if they do, Wendell Elliott would have just picked it up. Rob Pendleton on his way out of the box, as is Anthony Probst, Joshua Gathright, Derek Grigsby. But Christian Converse going to cycle back through to the race lead. He'll have Joseph Causey with him. Probably the worst part of that incident is that was team cars. Darrell Rector and Nick Lockard, both in the F5 Motorsports chat. So, not what you want to see with the boss man there.
I'd imagine there's been some choice words uttered in that chat. If I could be a fly on the wall there.
Now, we will have an absolute ton of cars that are going to get the wave around. On the restart.
The only issue with being one of
go ahead.
Excuse me, one of those wave around cars is that you don't get to pit this time. If you do take a pit stop, you lose that wave around. So it'll be interesting to see how those cars do if they don't go another lap down, having to pit here shortly under green.
Yeah, Brian Rumpf, Brian Grubbs, Gavin Fitzgerald, Brian Shaw among the cars that will take the wave arounds. Also, the 14 of Nathan Aldrich. We see the 23 of Mark McCurdy there as well. So now stops coming at lap 164. We're ready for the restart. Not quite going to get them to the end of the race, but it's going to be close. Green flag back in the air. Tell you what, gentlemen, we haven't gotten to do this one yet. How about we give the race fans here a chance to crank it up? Woo. One car spinning to the inside. That's Joshua Gathright. He's able to get the 89 machine collected back up. Another fantastic save here. And gentlemen, Christian Converse is on a roll. 2 laps in a row now. He's set the fastest lap of the race, 21.62 seconds. Then he matches it last time by. 21.73 the last lap for Joseph Causey, also his best lap of the race. Everybody within a tenth or so of their quick lap here as we work lap 174.
Track temp is at about 75 degrees Fahrenheit right now, which is very, very desirable track temp. Not too cold to where you can't get heat in the tires, but not too hot to where the track is sliding around, so it's no wonder these guys are going extremely fast around here.
Yeah, we can pull the weather info up here for you. Ambient 71 degrees. Low humidity, winds out of basically the west at 9-10 miles an hour. about as ideal of conditions as you can ask for. These cars are making as much horsepower as you'll see them make here on the iRacing service.
Wendell Elliott with a little bit of damage on that rear bumper. I don't remember, remember him having that damage there a couple laps ago, so I'm curious to see if he got shunted a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it's just a normal short track car. Nothing to be worried about.
Yeah, absolutely beat the snot out of him. Come home with the steering wheel and a decent-sized check. You had a good night. Let's take you through the field here. After an early incident, put him back in the field a little bit. Christian Converse has charged all the way back to the front. That Performance Sim Sport number 19 machine is the class of the field right now, leading by a little over 3/4 of a second ahead of the Performance Sim Sport number 88 of Joseph Causey. Seeing a little bit of trouble on the racetrack for Derek Grigsby. We'll stay under the green flag. The next Performance Sim Sport entry, Greg Holt, runs in the 3rd position. The first car that's not a team car is the 31 of Rob Pendleton. Another Performance Sim Sport entry right behind him. That's Wendell Elliott in the 5th position. Just back behind him, the Louisville number 98 of Anthony Props, down 1 from the drop of the green flag. 7th position belongs to another Performance Sim Sport car, Joshua Gathright. Fantastic night for that team. And the strategy call playing out a little bit here for Brian Grubbs. He's up 10 spots from where he started this race. That car is absolutely beat up. But he's holding on inside the top 10. In the 9th position is a 65. One of the F5 Motorsports Lockard entries of Brian Rumpf. He's going to let the 710 of Cody Henderson get by to the inside. Henderson well back in the pack. Currently running in the 19th position. Rounding out the top 10, the 33 of Gavin Fitzgerald. Again, another quietly strong night for that number 33 machine. Fitzgerald, one of those guys that we don't talk about a ton, but he's always there consistently towards the front half of the field here when we get late in the race. Running in the 11th position, the 81 of Brian Shaw. That car having a little bit of an issue down the front straightaway. Trying to pick up the 48 of Garrett Velzy. That car having a little bit of a connection issue there. The Mountain Dew Game Fuel entry just ahead of the 82 of Donnell Williams. Here on the racetrack, Williams running in the 13th position. First car 1 lap down, going to be the 23 of Mark McCurdy. 3rd place running rookie in tonight's race. And rounding out your top 15, the 42. Leading the modified division, that's Derek Grigsby. Let's slide up here and pick up the 31 of Rob Pendleton. He's going to have Anthony Props all over his back bumper as they come off at 2.
I'm starting to wonder if Christian Converse has used this stuff up, because Joseph Causey has closed the gap down to less than half a second now. Looking at, Christian Converse's car, he seems to be getting a little bit tight, and I've seen him tag the wall just a hair these last 2 laps. So I'm wondering if there's something wrong with that race car.
Yeah, we'll give you the lap times here, and for Christian Converse and Joseph Causey, I mean, they're within a very close margin of each other here. Converse making up a ton of ground over the last handful of laps here. In fact, a 1/10 of a second, 1/10 and a half on lap 183. Lost a little bit there on lap 186, but that number 88 machine is showing a ton of speed. You
can see just from the lap time from those 5 laps how bad the tire fall off is getting. even over those 5 laps, he's lost almost a tenth, which these cars, as soon as that Goodyear rubber just starts to peel away from that tire, they just get slower and slower.
Yeah, the lap time fall off happens in a pretty big hurry here around the Richmond Raceway. Tire wear is exceptionally heavy. And basically now it's going to boil down to where you make those pit stops, because Christian Converse has made 4 stops. Now, one of those he did not take tires on. We did see that earlier in the race. Just about everybody has used 3 of their 5 available sets of Goodyear Racing Eagles. Should be able to leave 1 in the bank here for the end of the race if needed, but it will be interesting to see if somebody plays the oddball strategy here. Leaders come around to lap Gavin Fitzgerald up to 10th place, now 1 lap down. Top 3 are all within a couple seconds of each other, and then the gaps really start to open up here. Wendell Elliott 3 seconds back of the race leader. Anthony Probst and Rob Pendleton 5 seconds back. 13 back to Brian Grubbs and Joshua Gathright.
65 on pit road.
Getting down to about 50 to go. I wouldn't be surprised here to see these drivers start to beat and bang a little bit more as we see the 012 get into the side of Joseph Causey's car. A little bit of contact, but they keep going all right.
Man, after the most recent caution, the 012 has to be the last car the 88 wants to see right now.
I wonder if the 012's up as we have 710 spinning coming out of 2. Yeah, I wonder if the 012 just put fresh tires on that car, because he does seem to be going a little bit fast in Joseph Causey as he starts to hunt down Christian Converse.
We're seeing here the 012 of Darrell Rector stopped on lap 168. Only 4 laps after the race leaders stopped.
I wonder then if Converse and Causey are just backing it off, taking it easy, trying to preserve these tires. Or if they just burn their stuff up trying to race each other real hard earlier in this run.
It very well could be a conservation game. Based on the stops at lap 164, you can make it all the way out to lap 228 if necessary, and actually even a little bit further than that. I would imagine you're going to try to make that last stop be as short as possible. So if you really wanted to make the end of this race, you could come in. I mean, really, you're in the window now to make your final pit stops. So I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen the undercut strategy by anybody that's on the lead lap. Basically, you just have to take less fuel to make the end. See that 88 of Joseph Causey laying tire stripes down the front straightaway on the exit of turn 4. Let's give a couple of shout outs here as we work through the race here. The 82 of Donnell Williams is your hard charger of the race so far. He's up 15 spots from the drop of the green flag. Good run there for the number 82. Haven't gotten to talk a whole lot about him, but currently sitting a couple of laps down to the race leader. Just ahead of him in timing and scoring, the 48 of Garrett Velzy up 13 spots from where this race started. Velzy involved in one of the earlier incidents tonight, also being scored 2 laps down. Up 10 spots is Brian Grubbs, held the race lead for about 15 or so laps, making the strategy calls work out for him. He's got that number 21 machine inside the top 10. And Wendell Elliott also up 10 spots from his starting position. Currently running in the 4th position. Here's the battle for the race lead. Christian Converse getting held up just a little bit by the 0-1-2 with Darrell Rector, allowing Joseph Causey to catch back in, and Greg Holt charging through here as well. There's, you see, the top 3 as they come through turns 1 and 2. James, as we
I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Greg Holt or even Wendell Elliott coming to the pits here within these next 10 laps. Just try and get the undercut on these top 2 or top 3 guys. And if we don't get a caution until the end, those guys might come out on top.
Not only the undercut, but more laps with fresh tires on. I would think you want, now that you know you're inside the window, I would want fresh tires for as many laps as humanly possible. You're going to make up, you may lose a little bit of ground at the end, but the opportunity to get some quick laps in the books while the race leaders are back to turning high 22-second laps, even 23-second laps, that would be a little bit tough for me to pass up.
Oh, absolutely. It is very risky. If a caution does come out, you've now killed any chance you had of winning this race. But if you don't get a caution, the payoff could be huge. So for some of those guys, a second or more back, that might be the strategy call.
We'll see how it's going to play out here as we're inside of 50 laps to go here at the Richmond Raceway. Christian Converse holding an 0.8 of a second lead over Joseph Causey. Greg Holt running in the 3rd position, about 2 seconds behind your race leader. Final set of pit stops coming up. Here's the really interesting one. Oh, Greg Holt, Wendell Elliott on pit road now. That sort of answers the question. We saw the cars. I say, well, we saw the cars go about 20 laps further than what we anticipated. Our math says the window closes. If you stopped on 164, the window closes at 228. If you get those 20 extra laps, you're at 248. Christian Converse, Joseph Causey making their way down pit road now as well. Or at least we thought they were heading down pit road. We'll pick up Greg Holt here on his way out of the pits. He's down and away cleanly, 14.9 seconds.
Yeah, Causey is in. Converse, interesting to see what he's going to do now. I think he might be forced to stay out and try to hope that it goes green.
Yeah, he missed his chance for the undercut, or to block the undercut. So now he has to just hope for a caution, lock these guys a lap down or more.
Causey overshot his pit box.
Oh.
Causey overshoots the pit box. Right side's service is completed. Cruise around to the left-hand side. They'll get the car jacked up. But this is going to be a very, very slow stop for Joseph Causey. 17.15 seconds. Now, Christian Converse and Brian Grubbs, the only 2 cars that have not stopped.
I'm curious to see if Brian Grubbs is able to save enough fuel and just make it straight out to the finish of this race.
Grubbs stopped on lap 151. He's going to be incredibly tight. Christian Converse stopped on 164. He's a little bit closer. But how much time is he going to give up on the old tires? He has a lap lead over Greg Holt. Here he comes this time into the pit road. Gets the car wound up to the pit road speed limit. Will stay on Christian Converse. Are we going to see the most epic fuel save run in the history? No, it can't be. There's no way he's going to go 100 laps. That's what it would take to go from lap 151 all the way to the end here.
I don't know if he can, but I really want to see if he will.
Down and away is
Grubbs
Christian Converse. Yeah, Grubbs now going to come in the pits this time by. Christian Converse looks like he may be coming out in 4th position behind Greg Holt, Wendell Elliott, and Joseph Causey. There's your race leader off of turn number 2. Christian Converse is just exiting turn 2 now. This is a huge turnaround for Greg Holt. In fact, Christian Converse was 2 seconds faster than Joseph Causey in the pit box, and he lost time on the racetrack. That's how much he gave up running those couple of extra laps on old tires.
Yeah, go on.
I was going to say, like I said, that strategy, pitting a little bit earlier than everyone else, was extremely risky with getting locked the lap down. But as you can see, the payoff for it is absolutely huge. They now have Greg Holt has a 2.5 lead against Wendell Elliott, and 2.5 seconds Joseph Causey, who was fighting for the lead a couple laps earlier in this race.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Converse, 5 seconds behind the race leader. Incredibly long green flag run here in this race. Still 9 cars remain on the lead lap. Brian Grubbs going to be the first car 1 lap down. Definitely some shuffling in the standings here, though. Garrett Velzy, who was a lap plus behind, now back on the lead lap. He's up 17 spots from the drop of the green. He hasn't pitted yet. That's the reason why, is he slides way to the outside. At this point, though, oh, now here comes Velzy down pit road. You almost wonder, do you try and hope for the caution here late in the race? At least then you would make the pit stop from the lead lap. You would tag in and be the 8th or 9th car in line.
Yeah, these drivers, especially further back in the pack, are going to try whatever they can, just try and get themselves a top 10 finish, and just come away from today with some decent points.
Christian Converse still 5 seconds back of the race leader, but the gap is shrinking. Joseph Causey, Wendell Elliott going to fight for second, and it may not be much of a fight at all as Causey comes around to the inside. He'll claim second and set his sights on race leader Greg Holt.
Christian Converse also closing the gap down. If he can catch up just to Wendell Elliott, he could still walk away today with a top 3 finish, which in my books isn't a bad day at all.
I would say, yeah, not a bad day, but I would say you have to be a little bit disappointing if you're Christian Converse. As quick as that car was at the front of the field, he basically got shuffled out by a little bit of lap traffic that was quicker than he was based on the age of the tires. I think he may have wanted to stop a lap or 2 earlier than he was able to. He just couldn't get down to the inside. Now we'll see if Joseph Causey's going to have anything here for Greg Holt. The gap holding pretty steadily, about 2.1 seconds. In fact, maybe even growing just a little bit. We'll see here as race leader Greg Holt's going to come down. It'll be 25 to go, this time by the start-finish line. An afternoon and evening of broadcast insanity here on the National Racing Network, getting ready to come to a close in a big way for the High Slide Cup Series. After 500 laps for the sprint cars around Southern National Motorsports Park, 250 laps for the High Slide Cup Series. The gap is shrinking. It's now down to 1.7 seconds for Greg Holt over Joseph Causey.
It's going to be close here at the finish. At the rate he's catching them, it seems like the last 5 laps are just going to be them battling for the lead. This track puts on awesome finishes. I'm hoping to see another one here real shortly.
What they were joking about at pre-race that the tires fell off in about 2 laps. Greg Holt stopped on lap 207. Joseph Causey stopped on lap 209. Could that 2 laps be the difference between first and second here? The gap is definitely shrinking, and in a very big way here, in fact. We'll show you the lap times once again. Causey is cutting huge chunks out of this lead.
I wouldn't be surprised if this gap goes down to less than a second by lap 235.
It's looking like it's going to go that way. And now all these drivers do, or at least should have, a set of Goodyear Racing Eagles available if the caution flag were to fly. With only 7 cars on the lead lap, I would imagine you're talking a pretty sizable number of these cars would come in as Christian Converse comes around Wendell Elliott to claim the 3rd position. We have 2 fights going on in one here. Christian Converse is reeling in Joseph Causey in a big way, as Causey is reeling in Greg Holt. The difference in tires is going to be 7 laps from Greg Holt in first to Christian Converse in third. As we see Wendell Elliott scrap up against the outside safer barrier on the exit of turn number 4. And this is the big thing. Caution changes everything if we see it. Anthony Props looking inside of Rob Pendleton. Pendleton going to have to get down to the inside with Gavin Fitzgerald's number 33 running up the high line. Oh, man, what a big save by the 98 of Props.
That was another incredible one. That turn 4, the banking transition into the tri-oval, is just so difficult to get right without that car coming loose. I'm amazed we haven't seen a save like that every single lap of this race.
Yeah, there's been a lot of them, that's for sure. But here's your race leader, Greg Holt.
I said 235. The gap is now almost less than a second.
You called it, Pat. You called it right on.
Down to 15 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway. The gaps look pretty sizable right now, but they are shrinking as quickly as we talk about them here. Interesting point in the comments here. James Leonard checking in saying, pushing his car harder than Greg Holt may end up using up his tires before he gets there. It's a distinct possibility. Holt may be keeping a little bit in the bag here, but I don't know. You're talking about a half-second lead that you're down to now. You're not going to let the lead get that close. You might keep them at a distance, but you're not going to let them to within a half second. It's a big difference between getting to someone and passing them, but I don't think Greg Holt is necessarily the kind of guy that's going to let this. He's not going to shrink the lead just for the show. We'll say it that way.
You know, boys, I don't think we should rule out the 19. He's already within a second and a half, and we still have like 12 to go.
Oh, yeah. If Causey and Holt start getting into it, they take each other out and a caution comes out, Christian Converse is going to be the man to beat on that restart.
He may be the man to beat, honestly, as it is.
Exactly. I don't think he's going to need them to take themselves out. He is running them down all by himself.
He has 6-lap fresher tires than Greg Holt. We've heard about how important it is to keep the tires underneath of you. The lead has stabilized a little bit here for Greg Holt over Joseph Causey. Causey's now kind of within range where the dirty air is absolutely going to come into play here on the front splitter, but Causey able to run a much tighter line through 1 and 2. One of the things here that we also sort of need to think about is this is not the kind of race where you're going to try to sit back and make the move at the right time. We saw that earlier this season several times, in fact, in the official series for the PM18s and the Indy Pro 2000. You almost had to time the move right because you knew the second-place car was going to be in a better position. This is a race where you need to get ahead and stay ahead. Try to open the gap up. You know, the big run is not coming late in this race.
Oh, absolutely. If you're Joseph Causey, you have to go in swinging and just try and get that position now. You don't want to wait till the last lap and hopefully get him on a photo finish. You want to take it from him and run away with it.
The lead is down to 0.3 of a second. Make it 0.2 down the back straightaway. It'll be 6 to go this next time by the flag stand. Christian Converse within, it's still about 1 3/4 seconds, so not quite close enough to challenge for the race lead. But lap traffic going to come into play in a big way here as well as race leaders down the back straightaway. It'll be an open palm and a 5-finger salute. 5 to go this next time by the start-finish line.
Good on the 33 for getting completely out of the way.
Holt slides up the racetrack just a little bit through 1 and 2. Causey not quite close enough to capitalize. That lead is shrinking from 2nd to 3rd as well. It's down to 1.5 seconds. But it's going to take a ton for Christian Converse to get up there and fight for the race lead.
Causey got a little bit loose off 4 there. It's going to bring the gap open a little bit more, but he's still right there. He can take it from him.
We're not measuring in tenths anymore. We're measuring in car lengths. Call it 1.5 off of turn number 4. Causey again just a little bit loose on corner exit. That allows Holt to open the gap back up to 2 car lengths as they get off of turn number 2. It'll be 2 to go this next time by the start-finish line. Greg Holt, Joseph Causey putting on a show here at the end. A little bit of a wiggle that time out of Holt off of 4. Get them in the comments. Make your pick. Who's it going to be? Greg Holt, Joseph Causey. White flag will fly next time by the start-finish line. Three-quarters of a mile left to go in the High Slide Cup Series at Richmond. Greg Holt going to catch lap traffic down the back straightaway. Mark McCurney out of the way. Causey sends it in deep into 3 and 4, but it won't be enough. Off of turn 4, checkered flag in the air. Greg Holt picks up the win over Joseph Causey. Christian Converse comes home in the 3rd position. What a fantastic
awesome
run.
That was fun. That was a blast.
Great run down to the end of the race here, and Greg Holt doing just enough to hold off Joseph Causey. It was about 1/4 second. We'll get to see Greg Holt absolutely burn down the tiny bit that's left of those Goodyear Racing Eagles. Well, maybe not. He does the nice job of just kind of parking it and waiting for the interview here. There's Garrett Velsey to come up and show his appreciation. As we wait for our top finishers to get on over here, let's show you the race results. Greg Holt gets the win by 1/4 of a second over Joseph Causey. Christian Converse, Wendell Elliott, Anthony Probst, your top 5. Joshua Gathright, Rob Pendleton, Brian Grubbs, Brian Rumpf, and Donnell Williams, the top 10. Brian Shaw, Derek Grigsby, Nicholas Lockard, Garrett Velsey, and Mark McCurdy back through 15th. Gavin Fitzgerald, Evan Kelsey, Darrell Rector, Jeff Converse, and Cody Henderson complete your top 20. Nathan Aldrich, Teddy Pendergrass, Art Greco, Alan Martin, and Peter Hodgson back through the 25th position. So now let's pick up our 3rd place finisher here. Christian Converse. Christian, an absolutely spectacular run for you tonight, but I would imagine probably a little bit bittersweet here as you look back on it as well.
Yeah, I lost about 4 seconds because I couldn't pit because the lap cars just kept coming to my inside. So I lost a ton of time there, and that's what cost me the race.
Yeah, that was one of the things we kind of talked about. You know, sometimes staying out is important, but not at the chance of losing the track position to lap traffic here. And it was still a heck of a drive late in the race to try to catch up to the race leaders, ultimately just coming up about a second or so short.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I did have something, but I mean, after a while, the tires just kind of even out when you're that far ahead. They just even out, and there's not much you can do.
Has to feel pretty good considering that the only luck you've had this season has been bad luck. You come to one of the tougher racetracks on the schedule, and you're able to put together a very nice points night and a good podium finish.
Yeah, it's all right, I guess. I wish I would have won, but I'll take 3rd.
It's tough. We can hear the dejection in your voice there, but it was a very good run for you tonight. And who would you like to thank?
The broadcast team, Garrett, Andrew for being the admins and league owners, mom, dad, grandma, everyone out there watching.
All right, there you go. There's 3rd place finisher Christian Converse, and man, that was tough. You could absolutely hear how gutted he was. And another guy who might not be totally thrilled with the outcome here is Joseph Causey. And Joseph, we were watching you catch Greg lap after lap. Did you finally just run out of tires there with a couple to go?
Yeah, basically the right rear said, no more. No more.
Yeah, so no Moss, right?
No Moss. It was no good. It wasn't having it.
Yeah, that was it was a heck of a run for you throughout the course of the night. It seemed like everybody had some sort of an issue at some point in the race that got them trapped back, whether it was just cycling through green flag pit stops or even contact at some point. You guys in the top 3 were kind of the exception to that rule, though. That race really seemed pretty clean for you.
Yeah, it was mostly clean for me. I know Greg as well, and we had some run-ins with a couple of lap cars that were either coming up at us when they got new tires, or it seemed like they were almost racing us when we got to them. So
I wanted to ask because the 012 spun right in front of you, and it looked like you got him a little bit before you got it turned around.
Barely tagged him. Barely. And I was saying to myself, I was like, man, Schroeder better not fucking get me in the OL. I did not spin him.
And then did you have issues on that last stop? Because it looked like, because we were watching you when you brought it in, it looked like you just slid through the box just enough to back up.
Just missed it, and then I was fiddling with the gears, and I still was in first, and I moved forward just a little bit more, and then I got into reverse, and then I got it backed up enough to get the stop going. So that didn't help my cause either. So maybe if I would have been able to get in the box, and maybe I would have been a little bit closer there at the end. But I got Greg one time here in another league, so I owed him one. So he got it. He got his one.
Yeah, it was a fantastic run for you tonight. Another good points night, and now back-to-back weeks you're in the top 2. So congratulations, and who would you like to thank?
I thank my team, thank Greg, Christian, Wendell, all of them. All of us work together when we go do A Opens. Also thank my wife for buying all this expensive stuff, like I said last week. And y'all guys, Garrett, thank y'all. Having put on the show. Probably go back and watch this one. This one was fun.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that's your runner-up, Joseph Causey. Let's get your race winner in here, Mr. Greg Holt. That was absolutely epic of a drive for you here, Greg. You were behind Christian when you got to that last set of pit stops. Did you know that he was having any sort of an issue, or was it a little bit of a surprise when everything cycled through and you were out front in a big way?
Oh, well, we're in the same Discord and on a team, so I knew that for like 4 laps he was trying to get into the pits and he just couldn't do it. And every lap it happened, I was like, man, that is another 1.5 seconds to my advantage. So I was clapping, cheering it on, even though I felt bad for him. But, you know, between the 3 of us, the wins that come against either one of us is far and few between. They're hard fought over, so we'll take it.
Yeah, the car was really exceptional all night. You started on pole, really, you didn't encounter many of the issues that some of the other drivers had with regards to fighting off lap traffic, the incidental contact. I mean, we didn't even really see your car put many a wheel wrong coming off of turn 4, which seemed to catch everybody out at some point.
Yeah, no, turn 4 here. If you don't take care of that right rear, you're in deep trouble. So, yeah, I was trying to just kind of ride it out. I know Christian had caught up to me there and got by me in one of the longer runs, which I don't know whether he just saved a little more than we did. That second run, I was going to try to save some when he was out front, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to split this segment in half and see what happens. I figured they'd all fall suit, but he waited a couple too many laps.
Were you surprised that we went green as long as we did to close out the race? I mean, it was almost half the race. We went green for the second half of it. This place is not exactly kind to tires, and really getting into big trouble is not all that difficult.
Yeah, no, I was betting on that last segment continuing to go green, because if it didn't, it would have hurt me. So, yeah, no, I'm not surprised. There's a good group of guys in here. Just got a, couple of cautions the first half. You expect that. Everybody, figuring everybody out and filling the cars out. And then she tightened up there later in the run. So once you got into a run, you were good for a bit. But, yeah, no, 100 laps, green here, no problem. These guys, we're good with that. It was fun.
Well, it was an incredible run to a very, very good race win, and going to help you big time in the point standings as well. So congratulations on the victory. Who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Garrett for putting this show on. Shout out to Mr. Schroeder for taking care of admin tonight. Thank you guys for doing the broadcast. And all my peeps at Performance Sim Sport. Pleasure racing with those guys. And I'll give a shout out to PD Pop and all of his PD Maniacs, just because I actually see that there is a PD Maniac. I'm so surprised. I didn't think that's a real thing. But since I know it exists, I'm giving them a shout out now too.
Oh, that's fantastic. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Greg Holt, your race winner tonight. And yeah, it was, gentlemen, this was a fun show to put on for sure as we come back here and get the scenic looks at Richmond Raceway and get ready to wrap up another day of broadcast excellence here on the National Racing Network. But James, we'll kind of come to you. What are your final thoughts here as we look ahead one more week before we get the first off week of the season?
This was definitely one of those races where you can kind of point to and go, you don't need a buttload of cautions for it to be a great race. We saw a lot of great racing and a ridiculously exciting finish despite a severe lack of cautions. This was a really high-end race, really.
Yeah, Patrick, I'll kind of finish up with you on a similar vein here. We saw some of the best driving I've ever seen in iRacing tonight. Drivers throughout the field making absolutely ridiculous saves. It goes to show you how high quality the talent is here in the High Slide Cup Series.
Oh, absolutely. Each and every one of these guys were all within a second of each other the entire way through the race. The field is just so closely packed together. And just racing up front, in the middle, everyone was racing side by side. We saw 3 wide a couple times, and everyone, for the most part, kept it together, which is really, really hard to see all throughout iRacing. There's drivers of all different talents and skill levels to where you just don't get that very often, and it's really awesome to see when we do.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show that these guys from the High Slide Cup Series put on tonight. But with that, we'll wrap up our coverage here from Richmond Raceway. Again, just a fantastic day here. Kicking things off with the Little 500 from Southern National Motorsports Park. The real deal's coming up in a couple of weeks at Anderson Speedway, but I think we did that race justice here on the National Racing Network. And then we get to finish it up with an absolutely incredible run from the High Slide Cup Series. This one's been a blast, and we've got a ton of action coming up this week as well. Tomorrow night, the Silver Crown Cup Series returns to action. Tuesday night, we're back to the doubleheaders with the Sprint Car Cup and the TNT PM18 All Oval Series. That one we're really looking forward to. I believe USA International Speedway is going to be the venue for that one this week. Wednesday night, it is the High Side Hustle with Burt Wojcik and Adam Rubright, talking everything in Northeast dirt racing. And I would imagine there's going to be some chirping going on about the World of Outlaws invasion here to Pennsylvania for Morgan Cup weekend. Thursday night, once again, a doubleheader, the Ezra IndyCar Series and the PM18 officials are also the Indy Pro 2000 Series at USA International this week. So whole lot of oval racing coming up on the National Racing Network this week. Really looking forward to it. Don't miss, coming about midweek, we'll have episode number 2 of Pizza at the Pagoda talking about the IndyCar Series and the Road to Indy as well. So with that, we'll wrap things up for this evening. For everybody here at the National Racing Network, my name is Chris Graham. Have a great night, everybody.